Okay, hello and welcome. Once again, just to, for those that aren't familiar with CDVI, my name is Gildo Morno. I'm the Technical Training Director, and I'll be doing a Atrium presentation today. I'm doing a PowerPoint, as you should be able to see my screen right now. We'll be talking about the features, some of the capabilities, capacities, how much and what we can do with the product with Atrium. Also, some of the integration options that are available to you that come with the product, with the Atrium system. So, moving right ahead. Atrium, if you're not familiar with it, is a web-enabled access control solution. There is also a PC, a free PC software that comes with the product. However, you can do your day-to-day management of the system through any web-enabled device like a smartphone, a tablet, or a computer with Google Chrome or Firefox, as you see different browsing solutions available to you. So any device that supports a web browser, an internet browser, can be used. We found in our experience of the use of the product through our contacts with end users and also installers, the one that seems to be the most convenient and user-friendly and stable, if I could say that, is Google Chrome, where the one that might be the least user-friendly or more unstable, if you will, for lack of a better term, would be Internet Explorer. Apple Safari, Firefox, they are, by and large, all of them are supported and they work fine. It's just that Internet Explorer, we tend to have issues with the cache. So right off the bat here, if ever you are using an Internet Explorer and connecting to the Atrium system and having page refresh difficulties and things like that, something that you could do is clear the history or clear the cache in your web browser. That's an undocumented tech tip for you right off the bat. So what can we do in the web browser? Is your day-to-day configuration. I would suggest this very strongly to be used by your end user and yourselves when you're connecting to the system, unless you have advanced configuration options such as configuring alarm integration or for that matter, creating macro commands or setting up an email. Use the web browser. That is your go-to interface. And when the web browser has limited capacities as far as, doing advanced configuration, then you can use your PC software, the Atrium PC software. What do we do in the web browser? As we can see, the bullet points here, locking and unlocking doors. So someone's at the door and I want to let them in because they forgot their card and I want them to come into work. Grant access to the door, unlock the door temporarily, unlock the door permanently, and so on and so forth. Adding and deleting users in the system. So we want to add a new card in the system and give that card to a person. In the web browser, you have that capacity. Seeing the, issuing them their access rights, which doors and at what times and can they come in, and configuring those options. So you do have access level menus and schedule menus and all the configuration options to manage your users. Last and not least, of course, you can see and view and print events through any web browser. And if you do have on your smartphone an app that connects you through Wi-Fi to a printer on the network, well, you could actually print from your smartphone the events. In the door menus, you can select a door and go to the events option, the events tab, if you will, in the door, and see all the events pertaining to that door and print those events off. You have that same capability in a user. So if I go into the users menu, select a user, and once I've selected that user, go to the events tab, I will see all the events associated to that user. And once again, be able to view it on screen, of course, or print it out if I have the printer enabled and configured on my device. The capacity of the system, Atrium, the original system which we released a little over 5 years ago, was a system, the Atrium system was limited to 10 doors. Over time, we've increased the capacity. As you see now, we are up to 500 doors with the Atrium solution. So the database, as we see, 500 doors, you can have 10,000 users, or what many people call cards in the card database, the user database. 1,000 access levels, so which doors at what time, so you can configure up to 1,000 different access levels. 250 schedules, which are used, of course, for your access rights, for unlocking doors automatically according to a schedule. We can also use schedules to say, during when the schedule is valid, I will activate a macro if a condition comes true. So, for example, a sensor, a water level detector in the building, we're using that to and connect it to the Atrium panel. And during the daytime, there is someone in the building, so if there is any issues, well, we will be able to react to it. However, evenings and weekends, there is nobody in the building, so if there is an issue with water level rising, that sensor, we want to be advised. So we can use a schedule, say only during evenings and weekends, if there is an alarm at that water sensor detected, we want to receive an email from the Atrium system. So emails have schedules associated to them, and also macro commands. We see, last but not least in this, the event buffer. So the control panel, the A22 control panel. When I am not connected to it, will store in its onboard memory up to 25,000 events, such as access granted, access denied, any alarms, door open, door closed, and so on and so forth. Once the control panel has reached 25,000 events and the 25,001st event occurs, we will push out the oldest event to make room for the new event. So it's first in, first out. Of course, when you're connecting to the system with a web browser, these events are displayed on screen, and as I said, you can print them onto into a printer, and so on and so forth. However, when you do connect to the system with the software, one of the advantages of the software, the advanced features, if I will, when you connect to the Atrium system, the event buffer will be copied onto the computer's hard drive of that software. So as soon as I connect with the Atrium software, all the events that are located in the A22 event buffers will be downloaded onto the computer's hard drive and stored there into an SQL database. This is how we connect the system architecture, how we establish the communication. We have the concept in the system of course, the A22 controller, and there are also what we call subcontrollers. And last but not least, we also have door expanders. So what do these details mean? Of course, when we connect to the network with our computer or a smartphone or a tablet through the network, the Atrium is a IP-based program, so I connect to the panel via an RJ45, a patch cable. And this device here is an A22, the control panel itself, and I'll connect to it, so I'll give it an IP address on the network. Each controller that's connected to the network, as we see here, they're all connected to the network, have an IP address. Each one of these controllers has the capability to add 4 door expanders. The door expander allows us to do 2 more readers or 2 more doors per expander. So with one controller, I can have 4 expanders for a total of 10 doors. The expanders are connected to the controller via an RS45 bus. You use a category 5 cable to connect any expander to the A22. The expanders, when it is connected and powered up, it will automatically be detected by the controller it is connected to, and the system will automatically add 2 doors per expander. The capacity per controller allows me to have 4 expanders to do 10 doors in total, 2 on the main controller and 2 per. So it's a 10-door system per controller, so 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and we can go up to 500 doors total. So we can have 50 controllers connected to an IP, each one having their own IP address, and each one of those can have 4 expanders for a total of 500 doors. We can remote into the atrium system through the internet. Of course, if you are on your local area network, your Wi-Fi connection, or if your laptop is connected on the network, you can connect to it. Also, this option, which is a very popular option for solutions for end users, as I can remote into the system back at my office and be able to unlock a door because my employee forgot to bring their card this morning. So there is the capability of connecting either through a computer or, of course, through a smartphone or tablet. So if you do have a data connection or a Wi-Fi connection in an airport or wherever you may be, if you have an internet connection, you are able to remote into the system and manage, add and delete cards, unlock doors, and see the events that are going on. That is done through the dynamic DNS option. This option is not a CDVI solution per se. What you will need to do is go to a dynamic service provider found on the internet. One that's very well known is dindns.com. So that's the second one in the list here, din.com. And that will allow me to, that service will be in constant communication. The server, the DNS server, will be in constant communication with the modem router in my building from my ISP. These will be synchronized. So if ever my ISP, my internet service provider, changes the IP address at my building, the DNS server will update the address. So when I'm on the internet, I will type in a host name, such as myatriumsystem.dns.com, to be able to connect to the system. So through the internet, I will talk to the DNS, and the DNS server will keep a table of the IP address at the building. Once we reach here, not to go into too much technical detail, we will do port forwarding to connect to the Atrium controller at the local network, the LAN level. If you were familiar with access control and security applications per se, when you do remoting into a camera system, an IP camera, you want to, the client wants to be able to see the camera remotely. It's the same concept that we do with the Atrium system. So if you've done remote connections through a camera system, what you're doing is using a DNS, dynamic DNS service, plus port forwarding at the local level. We do have a guide that will guide you from step by step into creating this connection and how to go about making sure that this all is able to work for you. So yes, you can remote into the system.